we are on the 100th episode of The Life of KG. I've done 100 episodes. That's absolutely insane in 3 years. And we have had some absolutely incredible guests. And today I have Belinda. Belinda, you might know her from Belinda Mindset. She has the mindset cards, which absolutely took the industry by storm the last couple of years. She kindly sent me a pack and I just love doing them with my team. So I wanted her to come on the show, tell us more about why she started Belinda Mindset and how you could use these with your teams or solo on your own. So without further ado, here she is. Tiger Training Academy is a proud Irish brand and award-winning academy. With over 200 students a year, their passion is helping students grow and succeed. The professional brow brand, Tiger Beauty, was developed by industry professionals with over 20 years experience. Developed during a pandemic, it has taken Ireland by storm. They offer a wide range of brow products and training, and their motto is, "Reputation is what people will remember." Courses are nationwide with their Academy affiliate program. Discount code for products or online training is KG20, offering 20% off. Belinda, welcome to the Life of KG. Thank you for giving up your time today.
Oh, it's honestly, thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to finally meet you and talk about the brand.
Yeah, definitely. Let's start with some quick fire questions to get us into the episode. So, coffee or wine?
Coffee.
Beach or pool?
Ooh, beach.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Nails or lashes?
Nails.
In the chair or out the chair?
Oh, what do you mean by that?
By working in the salon or working on the business?
Oh, well, I'm half and half. So yeah, I've just started dropping my days. So the dream is out of the chair.
We'll go with out of the chair then.
Yeah.
Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram all the way.
Really? Lots of people are saying that.
Well, with my clients are with the salon off Facebook, but with the mindset, it's Instagram.
Yeah, because I guess all of us lot are on your Instagram, aren't we? Like the salons, the therapists and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then I've had massive success on LinkedIn.
Really?
So as a salon owner educator, that's been amazing. It's like doing a live CV. Like I've loved that.
Really? See, I have LinkedIn and I dip in and out. Actually, I think I connected with you first on LinkedIn, funny enough.
Yeah.
But I do find it really hard. I find it really hard as well being on all social media platforms. It's just such a full-time job. And I have people working on social media as well. And we still can't keep up.
Yeah. I think with LinkedIn, you could literally post a video just about like introducing yourself, put it out there, and it just has much more global reach, but it's people in their professional environment. So like you wouldn't have to do loads. I've had some big opportunities right from the beginning just from sharing my message on there, and I had no idea it would be that powerful. So I don't know, a bit of luck, whatever, but yeah, it's worked.
Wow, I'll have to get on that. And anyone listening who hasn't got a LinkedIn profile, which I'm pretty sure will be most of the people listening, because we all just tend to stick with Instagram and Facebook, check it out. Anyway, we digress. Belinda, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Of course. So my name's Belinda Hillman. I'm a salon owner in Newcastle, but I'm originally Welsh. I always like to get that in there. So yeah, I'm a salon owner for 15 years, been in the industry for 25. And then over lockdown, a little bit before, I knew I wanted to go into education, but over lockdown, it really kind of blew up into this amazing brand. I had no idea the journey I was going to go on, but I'm very glad that I did. So I'm the creator and founder of Belinda Mindset and the Hair and Beauty Motivational Training Cards. I've got 4 packs of cards, 2 for hair, 2 for beauty, and I've got 1 course. which is called 3 Mindset Steps to Success. And it introduces what mindset is, how it can help you. And my goal is to reach every single learner in the industry, especially the UK and Ireland and then beyond.
I love that. So you're going to be hitting colleges?
Yes. So because the cards were created and it's evolving all the time. So I'm tweaking it and changing it and working on it and listening and making it better all the time. And in my mind, originally it was for like a learner to have them in their bag, no matter what household they came from, they'd have the same positive voice, this like more equal opportunities. But as we know with learners, they need accountability. So some will take it and run, others need like a prompting, you know. So what I found in colleges, because obviously the lecturers, you know, they know how to use resources in a creative way, are probably just getting more out of the learners, like quite creatively, you know, like group discussions. If they're busy, you can give the learner to, you know, they can lead the class or you could do one-on-one. So I just feel like the message is getting across, and I want to hit people at that younger age, you know, thinking limitless while they're training and giving them the tools to get through. I hate the thought of somebody giving up halfway through. Like, that breaks my heart, because it's been life-changing for me, the industry, you know. And I think that, I just was so grateful for every positive voice that I've ever had, like every mentor. And it's the little moments that you never forget, and I'm really passionate about that. And I'll probably ask you later, Katie. I always ask people, is there 3 things you were taught and you always pass on and you never forgot it? And I like sharing that, and just really enjoying it.
I love that. So you have a salon currently?
Yeah, it's called the Hairdressers and the Beauty Lodge. And it's going really well.
I'm guessing your team and stuff use your mindset cards.
Yeah, of course. I think for my team, so a lot of the content, it is me. So they're kind of used to being around me, my personality and how I think. And one of the cards says, you know, you become the people you're around. So and some of them, you know, aren't as in a mindset as others, but they'll take aspects of it on. So I think that's something, you know, there is affirmations, journaling, reading. It's sort of not pushing it all onto someone, like what is going to work for them, what are they comfortable doing. So I've got some team members that prefer reading, but I use these more with my apprentices. But what I've done with the stylists is they kind of you know, read them all, you know, and just like I gave them the pack and I just let them read them all, and I know it's kind of gone in. And then if it's quiet, I get them to work with the learners. But where they're quite powerful is one-on-ones, because you can hand pick cards. You could spend 5 minutes glancing through them all, whatever's going on with your staff member at the time. You could sort of grab a couple, mix them up, and really get them to see where they could improve. So they're taking responsibility, or they're noticing things, you know, either they could grow or work on. And I've really thought about simple things as well, like, because I'm obviously a salon manager, and it's all the little things that irritate you, isn't it? Like, you know, when you get someone new and they, you know, at some point they're probably going to come in late. So one of my cards is like set 2 alarms. So I try and really, you know, talking about, you know, how you show up every day, that your journey's for you. But one of the main things the cards bring across, because obviously bear in mind it's the learner passionate about, is getting over the fear of failure. I think it's the biggest gift you can give yourself, you know. So there's a lot of cards that really enforce that message.
Yeah, I mean, you kindly sent me 2 packs for my teams, and I did really notice that, and that was really, really good, just to get them pumped and believe in themselves more.
Yeah.
I really, really love that. And I love the fact actually that you say obviously there's things that always niggle at us. So creating the packs around the things that niggle us as salon owners can really help start opening up their mindset as a team and getting them to understand certain
Yeah.
things. I love that. Have we lost connection? Have we got me back?
You know, I wanted to know everything like now, you know. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you.
I was just about to say, when I was an apprentice, because it's really helpful to think back about how you were. Okay, so I was emotional, I was really forward, I was told like, you want to be the 𝑭𝒊𝒐𝒏𝒔𝒓𝒚 before you can run. So there's learners that just want to know everything now, and I think I don't know, like looking at a stylist in my eyes then, I thought, oh, that looked like a grown-up, that looked like really like you were going to become somebody. And I think then as a salon owner, you look at a new person and it is a little bit of like, oh, here we go again. God, I wish they just knew. And like these cards bring a little bit of, they can go as slow as they want or they can go as fast as they want, you know, they can learn lifelong skills in a very quick, short amount of time. I mean, you can't be experienced, you can't rush the journey. There's a card for that as well. But I think, and as well, you've got to be ready, haven't you? In your career, certain age, or hear a particular phrase and it really impacts you. So you could maybe read a card and it might not relate to you that much, but later on in your journey, when stuff's going on, it might hit more at home.
Yeah.
So I love that idea of what was the quote? Oh, I've forgotten it now. Oh, the right quote at the right moment in time can change the course of your life forever. And I just think that's amazing. I love that.
That's so true, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Because there's a few in my life that have really made me sit up and think, and a couple of them are you'll always work at life if you don't find a way to earn money while you sleep. That was you know, really opened my eyes to maybe more revenue streams. You are the books you read, the people you're around. And I really encourage reading to anybody, because I think sometimes we have our school mentality about reading and we just assume we're not good at it or we don't like it, but we forget that we've been told what to read. And if you pick up a book, because each personal development book I read, I feel like it changes me, you know, like each book opens my eyes, I see the world differently. I had an experience with a client the other day, you know, where, you know, you get some clients that they want everything and they expect blood from you. Like some clients just need that bit more work, don't they? They might be a bit more sensitive, a bit more, you just know you've got to bring everything you've got, yeah? But at the same time, she was saying, I don't get much money, I don't want to pay. And she was showing me this picture and her hair was like black. The picture was like a light brown. Now, no matter what I'd done to her haircut, so you've got to have confidence in like saying like, what do you value? Because, you know, and it's not about sort of ripping people off. And I think that's where a lot of beauty therapists and hairstylists get a bit confused when they're talking about retail. It's like, you know, what does the client want? What do they need? How can you give it to them? And if that's not a price tag, the price really is irrelevant. What's the client value? And I think a lot of these cards and reading books like that, understanding, you know, people's psychology can really, really help you in your career. So I said to the lady, I'm going around this story, I can give you what you want. I really think the two go together. How much does that mean to you to look like that picture? And we're all different in what we spend our money on, you know. And it was like a realization. It's like it would mean a lot. And she was nearly crying. She was like, I do spend on other people, and I should really spend it on myself now. Because I was like, of course, every 6 weeks you're going to want to come back in and have your roots touched up. If I do highlights, it's easy to colour it yourself. But don't you think you deserve that, to have the picture that you want? And it was just a lovely exchange. And I think yeah, I like get that across to people. You're helping people get what they really want, aren't you? You're not, and it's putting our ego aside and seeing the bigger picture with clients, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially with ego. Sometimes that can get in the way with hairstylists and therapists, but just putting that aside and making it all about the client. And I also agree when it comes to books and reading, like I'm huge when it comes to reading. I try and read a book a month, and I'm dyslexic, so if I can do it, anyone can do it, and that's definitely
well done.
in my mind 100%.
Yeah, I've got, with you saying about dyslexia, by the way, we all have challenges, don't we? I've got Joe cards, girl that was dyslexic, and I'll show you. She said she found they were easier to read. So they would be available like to order, but they're a lot bigger.
Oh.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's funny you should say that, because if they're going to go into colleges, it might have to be something I think about, like the colour background or did you find them okay? Because some of the text is quite small, isn't it? It's a difference.
Yeah, no, I did find it fine. But that is a really, really good idea to do them bigger for those that do struggle.
Yeah. I wanted to show you this as well. I created this worksheet, which I think I sent you in your pack. So did you try this with the cards? Did you try with and without?
Not yet, no.
Right, you will find you will get so much more from each card using this, like so much more information, because it's like everything that your staff are thinking comes out on paper, whereas they might tell you just a little bit. So yeah, this has got, you tick if it's a group discussion, one-to-one or independent learning. Tick which card it is. The learner can write out the card. So obviously you can buy all your team cards, but if not, they can write it out. And then in the notes it says, write your first thoughts, or like say you've had a discussion, just write kind of about that. What have you learned from that discussion, or what were your first thoughts on the card? Then it asks you to set a personal goal, a plan how you'll achieve, an action, when will you do it. So I have a lot of meetings, but I've started to learn that it needs to be in a diary. It needs to be scheduled or it won't happen. And then I love this little top tip bit here, or new habit, and it's got a little light bulb, because I'm all about, as you say, that light bulb moment, that aha moment where you're like, oh, I didn't think of it like that, or I really want to remember that. Like there's a little kind of get them to start thinking like that, because I think as salon owners and on our journey, we're constantly looking for good ideas, and you know, so it's getting them to really spot what will help them, really.
Definitely. So I love that when it comes to one-to-one. What would you do? What other techniques would you use as a group, or other ways of using the cards?
Yeah, so I think if you were, say, doing a training session, you could start off the class with an affirmation. So in my course, I break it down into 3. So you've got your affirmations and power words, journaling and mind maps. So you could, I mean, depending on what you were doing, you could have, like, you know, if you wanted to think in class about goals, so you could start off with an affirmation, and then you could have like your board and you could do a mind map together, or they could do them individually on paper. And then after that, you can just separate the learn and the growth mindset and the retail. And they're more like discussion cards. And then the task cards, they're either group discussion, or you can then say, right, pick something. So I've said to my learners about kind of, I've said once a month, because they've got a lot of training going on. You know, once a month, pick a task card and, you know, really commit to that. So whether it's creating social media, you know, like a new Instagram just for your work, whether it's researching, you know, 70s, 60s, 50s makeup looks, whatever. That can be like a side task, but I'm not going to overwhelm them every week. I think every month. And it's getting them to, and as well, I asked them to commit to maybe 1 podcast a week.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, because obviously we do it, we know how valuable it is, but it is a learned skill. And I think that once you see the benefit, because if you don't feel like a beauty therapist or a stylist, if you are doing an extra task a month, doing affirmations every day, journaling your journey, discussing all the top tips, you're doing all your other training, and then on top of that, you're listening to podcasts, you're learning who's in the industry, who's who, how they got to where they're getting, you're not going to have time to be low or think you're not getting anywhere, you know, and it's feeding that all the time. So they're little habits that I try and create, and not overwhelming them too much, like, you know, once a week, one podcast, and even telling them, like, so, you know, like if we were retailing to a client and you go, oh, do you have a bath or a shower? I'm like, you know, how do you get to work? Are you on the bus? So that might be a really good time to listen to your podcast. Like, so almost like trying to look at their schedule, and you've got to be really specific with your steps, haven't you?
Yeah, you have. And there's actually a podcast on this podcast that done an interview with a salon owner in Australia, and it was the 7 steps to create like the perfect experience in the salon. And well, I listened to her do this episode on another podcast, and I was like, I have to get her in to do this on ours. And I actually got the team to listen to this episode in a team meeting. Like, it was that important and crucial that they listened to it. Yeah, I built it into my team meeting, so we might have half an hour doing what a normal team meeting we would do in that time, but then half an hour listening to a podcast together, and they actually really liked it.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like sometimes you can't be bothered to do it, but when you're in it, you're like, oh yeah, like that's great. I think all training's like that, to be honest. Isn't it? And I think that if you schedule it in, you know, because I've had team meetings with all my staff at the minute, and you know, and I've said to them that, you know, you can just feel it when things are becoming same, you know, and nobody wants that. No. So I've got loads of online training, and I've just said, look, let's schedule it, and I know, take that time for you. And they're like, actually, no, I really enjoyed it when I was doing it. So yeah, that's helped me recently, because, you know, I'm very realistic about what it's like to have team members. It's hard to motivate yourself and everyone else, and then everyone's moods are different on different days. But as a team, we've like really discussed like our values, looking out for each other, and the really basic stuff I've gone over, like, oh my God, like, I'm so grateful for you. It's like, I love coming to work with you. You know, it's so basic, but there are human needs. We want to feel connection. And I'm like, you know, as much as we're together, let's not judge each other either. Like, if she's having loads of sick days, that really doesn't affect you and your journey. Like, stay in your lane, and let's not be so judgmental, because I give you all the same chance. So, you know, these are the sort of conversations I've been having lately, really back to basics, appreciating each other. So I hope if that's helpful to anybody.
Yeah, definitely. There must be a story behind the mindset cards. Why did you decide to bring this in? How did the idea come around?
Okay, so it's lots of little moments that they came together in kind of one. So where do I start? I had a bit of depression before the lockdown. When the lockdown started, I was coming out of it. And I'd had some counselling. I got, you know, all the help I could. I couldn't get through a day without crying, and I just was really stuck. And I think my whole life needed reevaluating. And I had this moment where I was like, you stop thinking about all the things you're not good at, all the things that are wrong. And I know they say, oh, the positive side, but when you really do turn that corner and you start to look at your strengths and what you do bring to the table, you know, and I started to realize, well, I'm not successful for no reason, and these are my strengths. What excites me when I'm talking? What lights me up? And apprentices has always been like, I know how valuable it is. Even if I get a work experience girl, I make sure she knows how to make a sale. I know how, I make sure I know that'll stay with them forever, and I just think it's so powerful no matter what job you're in. So I knew how important that was to me. And I just had this moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. Like, what if I didn't meet that mentor? What if my best friend hadn't told me she worked abroad? What if I never thought outside of my environment? You know, what if I was never given that mindset book? So many what ifs. And I come from South Wales. I had a single mum. I went to Catholic schools. And from a very young age, I knew we were less off. Okay. And it's not about being materialistic or wanting, you know, the designer bag. I felt less than. I was very, very aware of that. And it wasn't just the kids, it was the parents, the way they would look down on my mum. You know, I knew what it felt like to not feel the same or good enough. And nobody wants to feel like that, you know. And their houses were more cozy, luxurious, bigger. Like I was probably exposed to maybe a bit of a different world. And yeah, I moved out at 16. I was very independent. I've got a lovely mum, but I was very, very strong-minded, very independent, and I wanted to look after myself. Because all my apprenticeship wages, she kind of wanted it all to survive there. But I was like, well, I can look after myself for the same money. Do you know what I mean? But I put myself in quite a vulnerable position when I look back, like, you know. And do you know what's really scary, Katie? The same curtains are hanging up in that bedsit as it was back then. And that is a realization of my life could have stayed there. Yeah,
that's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah. So from there, I did factory work also, and you know, I take my hat off to anyone that does that. I knew I wasn't the brain of Britain, but I knew I had something more to give them that. Like I just couldn't. It was mind numbing, and I knew that for me that was just soul destroying. But I didn't really like studying, so when I fell into hairdressing, I literally, it was like an overnight thing. I couldn't wait to go to work. You're allowed to be, you know, your true self. I could be as chatty as I wanted. I could get hands-on, and I just couldn't wait. And just that goal to be a stylist was just, even though it was 3 years at the time, just kept me going really. And I've learned a lot from my experience, because I was quite emotional, and I probably put down my brush a few times and walked out. And there's some apprentices that you get, and I'm a bit more patient with them, because I think some take their entire journey to grow up. So some do it halfway through, or some grow up right at the end, and then it all comes together. So I think sometimes you can be quite strict with your rules, but I think maybe I'm just a bit soft. I root for them.
No, I think that's really good. They do need molding and hand holding and just a lot of patience. Like a lot of the time as well, when you have experienced team members, or they've been with you for a long time, and then you bring apprentices on board, sometimes it can be like, they expect them to be at that standard straight away, or why aren't they getting it, or why can't they talk to that customer how they should be talking to that customer, but they're not used to any of that background or environment. And it's really molding them and studying with them and just getting them to how you want to be. But it's really a process, isn't it? And it can take a long time, but they can be the most valuable staff member of your team if you spend that time with them.
Absolutely. And with the beauty cards, they're a little bit different to the hair, because I've talked about things like, I don't know if you've seen that card, like even getting a client to remove their clothes, or being really clear with your instruction, you know, to get ready. Or so they cover a lot of emotional intelligence. So reading a client's mood, taking their lead, how much they want to talk. You know, I think beauty therapy takes a lot more of your energy. It's very personal. And it can be quite intimidating if you're a very anxious person and you haven't got those skills yet. Like, you know, I think, so there's a lot of cards that, you know, really get them to think about sort of turning off their social media, stepping into their professional role, like really kind of going, right, okay, this is me, but this is my work me, you know, and just think it's, yeah, I'm really proud of them, and I know they'll make a difference. I think the beauty industry is changing all of the time, and I know there's a lot of holistic, you know, lashes, all these different things, but these are you need your basics first, and you need to know how to present yourself. So they're not particularly technical, but they do cover a lot of like your emotional needs.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just the most brilliant idea, and something that the industry has been calling out for, especially now. Obviously mental health is so huge, and it's not going anywhere, is it? And lots more people are open to talking about mindset and like being anxious and depression and stuff like that. It's an open topic now, so I think building that with your teams is so important. And how you've built the cards around your own experience, I just think it's just so good. And I just congratulate you that it's blown up so much, so well done, really good.
Thank you. I've missed a vital part. I worked on cruise ships when I was 19, and that's where I got my retail background, and that was where I was introduced to mindset, being surrounded by excellence. So going from a council estate to a cruise ship was such a massive jump, but God, I thrived on that training. And I think you know, sometimes I worry about being too hard on people. I actually crave that discipline, you know, having that stronger figure in my life, kind of going, right, come on now, I'll see you tomorrow, you know, this is what you need to do. And it's like getting that real balance between pushing someone in a healthy way, or kind of like, you know, if someone's really struggling, don't you? You know, but I think, you know, some structure and authoritative nature can be a real positive. It was for me at a young age. So yeah, and suddenly, you know, well, I had to be great at it, otherwise I wasn't going to have a nice time. And I read, the first book I read was The 1 Minute Salesperson. I didn't understand it all, but I remember reading it and the penny kind of dropped, and it helped me make massive sales, improve my life. And I think that's what it's all about. Like, if you can just take, and these do it in really short bursts, you know, so rather than reading the whole book, it's all the golden nuggets of information. But I just want that for everyone. Like, I just want everyone to get where they want to get quicker. And I love the idea of it just being equal for everyone.
Yeah, I love that as well. With obviously your background and obviously how you was feeling personally within yourself, and then creating the cards, other than the cards, what other mindset tips do you have, if any?
Mindset tips, I mean, I think telling yourself you're enough solves 99% of problems. You know, even for me, going into this education world, if there's anyone out there that wants, that was a huge step for me, like moving from a salon owner to an educator. All those thoughts went through my mind, like, who the hell do you think you are? And this just goes to show, like, a lot of my stuff's basic, but if it's helped you, it's going to help someone else. So, you know, and I think we've all got something to offer. If you're passionate about the industry, we all have something to give. And I mean, I'm really passionate about journaling. I think there's something about putting pen to paper. Really give that a go. If it's not something you normally explore, it gets it all out, you know, it gets it all out, and then you can look at it and you just can see the problem. Like, it's amazing. And I think for salon owners, mental health first aid, I really recommend that course. But just to do a quick recap, understanding the difference between mental health and mindset has been really helpful to me, because I think sometimes we can get too emotionally attached to our team. I definitely had that nature of wanting to fix everybody and everything. Whereas now I can look at it and go, okay, like, yeah, because they've got a little mental health MOT that you can download. And it's really basic things like looking at your team member with them and going over, like, so this is it here. How's your sleep? What are you eating? What are you drinking? You know, straight away, because a lot of them sleep all day but are awake all night, and then you got to try and come to work, or like say they've had a week off. Or another one is when they go on holiday, I always make them take a few days off after when they come back, because they have a water infection or a chest infection. So I'm learning about the stress container as well. So there's a resource on my website. The stress container is basically our resilience. So everyone's different in how much they can take. So, you know, when your mom used to go, I'm up to here.
Yeah.
It's kind of true. So everyone's kind of cup is a different size, different shape. And if we don't manage that stress, if we don't let that kind of, say, the water pouring in is the stress, if we don't kind of unplug it with things that help us, it overflows, and that's when stress can become into depression or a bigger problem. So I've got a little worksheet where they write the things that really help them. So it's getting them to identify their triggers, really. So it could be as simple as having a bath, talking to your nana. You know, maybe they need you as your manager one-to-one every week. Maybe they actually don't. Maybe they need you once a month. Sometimes it can really stress people out. Like, so, you know, as a salon owner, you know, I'm not, God, these are just my own thoughts. I think this, you know, everyone's doing an amazing job, but really getting to know what motivates them individually has helped me. And you've got to pivot and evolve. Like, one of the team members, she's so strong, got brilliant clientele, and she wanted to reduce her Saturdays. There's been a lot of that in the industry, isn't there, whether to work Saturdays or not. And I think you've got to not just follow the crowd, like do what suits you, your team, your business. But I could afford for her to drop her hours a little bit. So she finishes at 3, but if someone's on holiday, she works till 5. Then she came back to me and she was like, I feel a bit stuck, like I'm not sure if you know, I really want to live my life. So I was like, well, I'd be happy for them to take like a month unpaid to go traveling, but I would keep the job open. So it doesn't always have to be all or nothing. And I've not done that for any other of my team members, but they never needed or wanted that.
Yeah.
So
it's about having rules in place, but if you need to tweak them for someone, because someone likes it, that the girl needs actually requires that, and she's asked for that, whereas other staff members haven't. So, yeah. And that might not be what they want. So you can cater it for different people's needs, can't you?
Yeah. And again, like, you know, when we're on about the social media, I mean, that in the beauty industry, the anxiety alone, like Instagram literally can just be there to make you feel bad about yourself, you know, or you know, all these social media platforms are there to grab our attention, and it's really teaching that we can control it, not let it control us. So by using a podcast, you're controlling what you're listening to, rather than get stuck down that rabbit hole. Letting us, you know, we're learning all the time. And I think sometimes learners think there's one course where they'll go and they'll be able to do everything. You learn a bit here, a bit there, and a bit there. If you're not letting your brain have 2 minutes to calm, that's where the learning happens. It all comes together, you know. So I think really encouraging people to have mindful moments, a phone-free morning, a phone-free hour. You know, even at the simple task of not going on your phone in between clients, because for 20 minutes, it'll take you somewhere else before you can concentrate back on what you were doing. So just be really aware of what social media is doing to it, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
You know, so I think setting up like a great page of all your work, thinking about who your ideal client is, and just really using it to your advantage. But yeah, social media, free time, journaling. What else did I say? I can't remember now. Oh yeah, the stress container.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Can they download that off your website?
Yeah, they can download I've created a sheet that's got the stress container on. But if you go onto the Mental Health First Aid website, there's videos of the stress container as well. And there's things like this that you can put in your staff room. But if there was any sort of manager or anyone that wanted to do the Mental Health First Aid course, I do recommend it. So what it did for me is it took the pressure off my shoulders. You can have an understanding of what mental health is, but you just have to signpost, you know, and sometimes we think we have to do a lot more than we do, but we don't. And if you have a similar personality to me where you want to fix everyone, you can lose a bit of yourself sometimes. You know, I've literally cried buckets over apprentices at times, like, you know, where you're wanting it more for them than themselves, and it's not healthy, you know. And I've learned, yeah, it's a constant thing. You can guide people in the right direction, but they've got to meet you halfway, you know. And you know, sometimes to feel responsible if it goes wrong. And
no, I think that's very, very valid. And there's a lot of, because I'm a coach as well, there's a lot of salon owners that I work with, and a lot of them want their teams to then go into teaching, because then, you know, the salon owners come out the salon, then they want to go into teaching, they do that, then they build that business up, then they want their staff to go into teaching, and they think that they're offering the staff members really good opportunities, and they are, but just because they're really good opportunities to us doesn't necessarily mean that that staff member wants that or can see that vision or is part of what they wanted to do. So I think it definitely is holding staff members and apprentices up, direct them where they want to go, but really think of what do they want and help them with that, because otherwise you might be trying to put them on the journey that actually is not for them or is not what their passion is. So really listening out for that.
Absolutely. And I think if you've got someone resisting about posting their work, there will be a perfectionist reason there. So then it's kind of like, I do a lot. The more I've got educated in emotional intelligence and human needs, the more I look at a problem now, and rather than get angry, I look at underneath, well, why are they resisting that? You know, and I am yeah, they were like, well, when I look at pictures, I just see the faults. Yeah, but your client hasn't got what we call it, the hairdresser eye. Your client hasn't got that, you know, and other stylists are working on their clients, and they're, you know, you've got to at some point let go.
Yeah.
And even going on a course, like one of my cards is like, you know, be brave. There's always Google Maps, you know, because I've seen some girls literally sob or get to the course and they've just probably never left their hometown. Like, I mean, once you've done it once or you've gone the first day, you know, and it's just a shame, isn't it, to let those things stop you growing. But you've got to feel the fear. You have to, and get out of your comfort zone. It's the only way forward.
It definitely is. You can't grow staying in that comfort zone.
No, and it doesn't stop. Like, you know, I have to do that all the time, and you have to check in with yourself, your goals, what's important to you, you know, remember how good you are. Like, it's a daily thing to keep checking in with yourself, and it's almost build yourself up ready to go out into the world all the time. So it's not a case of like it's like having a shower. Your mindset, you've got to work on it every day.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, a lot of mindset stuff is so basic. You think, just say affirmations, or, you know, journal, like telling yourself you're enough. All those things break them down. They're very, very basic. But if you're only doing them once in a blue moon, it's not going to work. You have to really believe it and do it daily.
I mean, we've just forgot the biggest thing is being grateful as well. That absolutely changes everything. If there is someone that's really anxious, I love Mel Robbins, and she's just wrote a book about the high five habit. Now, again, asking one of your team members to look in the mirror and high five themselves, you will be amazed at the response that you get. There'll be some that are like, yeah, no bother. But if you've got low self-esteem, that one simple act, you won't be able to look yourself in the eye. So that's a really powerful thing, or can really show the person where they're at and how they can build that daily. But if you're feeling a lot of anxiety, one of my cards says like it's the same physical feeling as being kind of happy and excited, which again, it's just understanding the mind and learning. But if they put their hand on their heart, count back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and tell themselves in their mind that they are safe, that they are loved, and that they're fine, can really calm them down. So that's a really powerful one as well.
I love that. I do gratitude with my teams in the morning, and some of them struggle with that as well and some don't, and it's really interesting to see where everyone's mindset is at. But some people will turn up in the morning and they'll be like, don't know, not really grateful for anything. And I'm, well, are you not grateful for breathing? Not grateful for waking up this morning? You're not grateful to being able to drive to work? Like, there's so, even if you think, like, even if you're having a really, really bad time, there's so many things that you can still be grateful for every single day.
I had one powerful moment with a learner a while ago. She was actually pregnant and obviously thought that was going to be the end of it. And I was like, well, you're having a baby. Like, it doesn't mean you can't physically do all the, like, I'm still up for it, you know, like, it's fine. And everything was negative. And she was like, you know, I work 37 hours. And I was like, why is that a bad thing? Why can't you change that to, I'm proud I work 37 hours? Do you know what I mean? And it was just such a negative mindset towards working full time. And it's like, own it, be proud of that. Who says that's bad? You know, like, and I said, you know, it's your choice how you feel when you get up in the morning. And I don't know, like, sometimes you say these things, but in that particular moment with her, it was literally like the next morning she come in a different person. So it's almost like handing over the control. And again, not bringing the other team down, because some people, like, I had one team member and we laugh about it, we're like sisters, we've worked together for like 15 years, and I'm getting a bit better at it now, because as humans, like, I bring my half and she brings her half. I can't control her half, but sometimes her half would make me really upset. Like, if she was down, I would go quiet, you know. So, you know, even as a salon owner, it's like some people's moods can really affect yours. Whereas now, I'll say, because we've kind of learned to communicate, I'll go, like, you know how like your mood affects mine sometimes, like, are you okay? Like, even just like asking each other, are you okay? Taking them aside for that minute. And sometimes you don't realize how much of a huff you're in, do you?
No.
You know, and it's like, do you want me to take over? Like, do you need to go sort yourself out? And I think just not letting it fester and actually interrupting the patterns, I think, can really help as well.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. So
yeah,
those that are listening, because I'm sure every single person listening is going to be like, I need to get my hands on some cards and my team really need this help. So where can people go to connect with you, first of all, and to purchase your cards?
Yeah, brilliant. So my Instagram is at Belinda Mindset, and there is a link to the shop on there. And then my website is belindamindset.com. Now, I know you had a good look at my website. Katie, and there's so much valuable information on there. Like, if you don't know where to start with mindset, it gives you a list of books to read, why I like them, links to them, so much on there. And there's a really good thing, Katie, because I really believe the power of your why is important. And there's a book which is The Millionaire Habits by David, is it David Crozier? I got his name right?
I've got it somewhere. Looking up on my bookshelf, I've definitely got that. Again,
Dean, not David,
Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a link on my site for the 7 layers deep. So you get your staff to put in, like, what do they want? And then it asks them why they want it. Yeah. Now, you've got to sit with them, because they'll go, oh, it's repetitive, it's the same question, but that's the point. So you put your answer, and then you've got to question your answer. And then the last couple of times it really gets a bit tricky, because you have to really think hard, but really kind of sit with them and get them to really push themselves to do it, because you can have some really powerful realizations. I absolutely love that. And if you're really stuck or got a problem, or even as a salon manager, you really don't know why you're in a fettle about something, that is a brilliant tool. I use a lot.
I done that in a mastermind of salon owners last year, and we had, bear in mind, it was all over Zoom, no one knew each other, people were typing. I said, you can be as open as you want, or you can be as close as you want with everyone, because they didn't know anyone. And we had everyone in tears. Everyone was in tears doing 7 levels deep, because some of them didn't really realize their real why.
Yeah. I mean,
I get lost in your day-to-day busy life, that you lose focus. So to go back to what your why is, it could be so powerful.
Amazing. That, as a team exercise, and they're not bored, because we all want to talk about ourselves. We all care about ourselves. Like, it's just human. And to figure yourself out on that deep level. And if you're trying to get your team on board with mindset, it's a brilliant place to start, because like, just the penny kind of drops, and they're like, I didn't know I thought of that. And my husband hit the nail on the head. He's like, well, I don't think about what I'm thinking about. And that's the whole point of mindset, is just becoming more aware. But this is the pack of cards. So there's pack 1 and pack 2. Each are as valuable. There's just different information in both. I just had that much information to share. But you can get a discount on 1 pack. So it's habia 15, so capital letters, for a discount off 1 pack, but there's an automatic £5 off the 2 packs anyway. And yeah, but I mean, my course, I do the 7 layers deep. So if people don't feel comfortable, I can do that as a team thing. And yeah, so I'm working with, what college is it next? North Kent College. So I'm teaching 100 learners over January and February. So there'll be a lot more content on my socials. I lost my grandma in November, so I had no staff because they were off with COVID at Christmas. So I've kind of been really concentrated on myself and my salon, but I'm so excited to get stuck in. These are all beauty industry as well. So I'll be sharing a lot of like how they're feeling, because I like to know what's currently going on with them. So yeah, look out on my socials.
Oh, I love that. I can't wait to watch that journey. It'll be incredible. But Belinda, thank you so much for giving up your time today. I think we could talk for hours on this subject.
I know.
Those of you that are listening or watching, then definitely check out Belinda's Instagram and her website, and you can head over to there. And if you could reshare this episode, if you could subscribe, if you could tag us in social media that you've watched it, me and Belinda would be hugely grateful. So thank you. Thanks, Belinda.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
The Pro Gel, classic professional British. The Pro Gel is a proud British brand designed and created for nail professionals by nail professionals. We have a wide range of professionals only product with over 200 highly pigmented gel polish colours that are all vegan and cruelty free, express tips and lots more. Make sure you follow us on socials at the Pro Gel UK and use code KGLife10 to receive 10% off your first order.